Hi, I'm very glad you joined us. My guests today say there is nothing more enjoyable than vacuuming the rug or mopping the floor or organizing the closets or even oiling the furniture. These are men who are obsessed with neatness and cleanliness. Now, their wives say that these neat and clean freaks are driving them up the wall. What would it be like, somebody like that? Please meet Laurie and her husband, Jack. They have been married for 18 years. Laurie says her husband keeps their house so neat, those pages in House and Garden magazine. And Laurie told us that we really have her house to believe it. So guess what? We took our camera crew to see her neat husband in action. Now take a look at this neat man.
Well, that Jack cleans. Come on into the rest of the house. Oh, be careful, the walls are wet. Jack always paints before anybody comes. Jack does everything in the kitchen, but I can't cook. He'd rather that I never hands, because when he comes home, he has to do the dishes. It's not that I want him to, it's just that I have everything clean before he eats.
My lemon is vital. It's no big deal, but when your guests arrive, you don't want them to have space around their dinner.
I tried to at the table, and I tried to set it the way you would set it.
She doesn't have a drink.
Oh, but you make everybody feel like they have to be done.
Well, they have 10 minutes. Are you done? Good.
That's what you always do.
Jack, I wasn't done.
He always is. Jack's in his Sunday best.
Watch out, Rugrats. Back off, guys. Let me get this done.
No one ever sits on the couch. Why do you need to do that?
Wow! Well, it's one thing to see him in action, it's another to know man. Laurie, I got to tell you, from what I just saw, most women would kill for a husband like him around the house. Now, I've always needed a wife. I've never been able to get one. Why?
After so many years, you just feel so inadequate. And you start feeling that you can't do anything right, because he redoes everything you do. Even if you think it's done correctly, he comes and redoes it. I should have guessed that something was wrong, because when we met 18 years date, he came over to my house, and he pulled up to the driveway, and we had our garbage out by the curb. And I didn't realize it, but he bought the garbage in the garage before we ate.
And you never met him?
Never met him before.
I don't know how many people, when you go, nothing that takes away from the house more than a garbage can out front.
But the garbage man was coming the next day. My mother couldn't carry the garbage back out.
You bring it out that morning, and you take it in after he leaves.
Right.
How many people have gone?
Before the garbage man
How many people have gone to a show homes, and the homes are immaculate?
He thinks that your house should never look like anybody ever walked into it. It should be sterile.
I'm a builder and I'm a contractor. When I build a home, I have never built a home yet with a next to the sink and a toaster on the counter. We build our homes. They're pieces of art. There's something to look at.
After 18 years, the only thing I can keep on my kitchen counter is a toaster oven.
And I want you to know she put it away before the camera crew came. I taught her well. 18 years, but I've taught her well.
That's what happens when you get married. Now, so young, and you're impressionable. And I was so impressionable. He oils the furniture. We sit down for dinner. Everybody gets coated with oil. Before I came this morning,
There is.
All right, what is the reason for oiling the furniture?
There are protective material you can have in your furniture. One is dust, one is oil. I prefer oil because I can control the color.
Well, the only
She
difference,
prefers dust.
The only difference between the way he dusts is he dusts with oil, and he leaves a coat of oil on the furniture that'll take a week to... But when his mother does it, she wipes it back down again so you don't get it all over your sleeves. His secretary called me at the office, a concrete office covered with dust. She said, don't forget to say how I went to my desk one morning, fumes from bleach, making my ears tear, and oil up and down her sleeves on her... She just got coated with oil.
Wipe her desk.
In the morning.
Now, wait a minute. There's a lot of things going on here. Number one, is it true that you take the dishes away like we saw on the tape before he is finished eating?
Well,
you do. You do.
Actually, no. About this now.
20 minutes is all
We
you're
have
allowed.
been sitting at the table for at least 20 minutes, And this case in point, it was time for the next course. There were a few lingering lights.
I was sitting there eating on my own.
But there was more food to come.
I was all by myself eating, and he came into the house, took my plate away,
we had to go
and
out.
sprayed bleach on the countertop, got me covered. I didn't get up in time.
Wait. This is obviously not an Italian family.
Yes, it is. That's what's scary.
No, I didn't mean that for cleanliness. We Italians spend much more time
when you're
eating. 22 minutes per course.
22 minutes.
But that was just one course. If they had been another course, it would be more time.
Now, we have a bleach crisis. I've had crises on this show. This is your wife. Listen, she turned you in.
He bleaches the bird cages. He has birds in his...
What is this about bleach that is so attractive?
Well, no, it's not that it's attractive. Bleach is, it kills bacteria.
And it causes retching much in the bathroom.
I'm always concerned about the children, that there is not bacteria.
If an ounce is good, it's better.
He loves bleach.
Oh, because it kills every germ you can imagine.
All right, now, he has birds.
He has birds. He has little canaries and finches. And in our other house, he has them, but somebody told him they smelled. So we just moved into this house, started his hobby again. Every morning at 4:30, he bleaches a cage. He will notice the odor.
It's not quite that bad. She exaggerates.
No, I did
What do
not
the birds
exaggerate. I can't believe they're alive.
There was one morning I had to ventilate the bird.
They're alive.
All right. What else bleach?
Everything. He washes his hands with bleach. He cleans the floors with bleach.
I wash my hands with bleach because I'm afraid of the children getting sick.
I had to open the window and let the neighbors see me because I couldn't even sit down long enough because the fumes.
Percentage bleach does he use?
He uses full-strength bleach. He puts it in a little spray bottle. He runs
It does
around
an
the
excellent job on the counters. There is no stain on my counters. I have white counters.
Now listen, if he bleaches the walls too. Because on the walls, and I have 3 wonderful children, but they do run up their hands on the wall.
Only on occasion.
And so he bleaches the walls, but when their fingerprints don't come off, and if he thinks company is coming, he gets out the paintbrush. I have Navajo white paint. I always have it. He gets out the paintbrush and paints whatever bleach doesn't take off.
In all fairness, think about this. I had a painting contractor teach me this. He says you can either wash the walls or you can paint. If you paint the walls all one color in your house, you can touch up at a moment.
What color my house is?
It's Navajo white.
Navajo white. Every room.
Wait a minute. Are you agreeing?
Yes, she's agreeing. This woman knows.
I touched up my walls after a paint job.
Listen, I have ladies waiting. Would you like to wait for my wife? You can be the next one.
And every time I saw a spot, rather than...
What kind of house is this where there's the smell of bleach, the smell of paint?
Thank you.
Oh, your house doesn't smell. You don't use enough. Gallon of bleach to an ounce of water if it doesn't smell. Absolutely kills you.
The woman knows.
If he is always painted, it would occur to me that you get paint on your, or paint, if I came to your house, and I walked in the kitchen.
I had friends come to my house.
They early.
They did not. They did not arrive
early. They arrived 10 minutes early.
Time.
They really did.
They were coming to my house, and he painted the walls right before they came in the door because he wanted everything.
How many people, when you walk in the house, touch their walls?
Oh, come on. They had
I don't touch your walls when I go to your house.
Their 2 children walked into my house, and what do you think they did? They touched the walls.
I paid the dry
They weren't
cleaning
my
bill.
children. They were somebody else's, covered with paint. She couldn't believe it. And another Italian friend.
But the walls were...
What about the vacuuming? That you only vacuum in one direction, and then we have to take our shoes off.
Do you do, in the middle of the night,
he
do you
does
do beds?
everything.
Well,
He does everything.
It's not that we do them in the middle of the night.
I
We
don't
had
do
company
anything.
on Sunday night. Your producer, who wouldn't go home. I have to go to work the next morning, and I couldn't get rid of the man. To do the dishes, I had to vacuum, and I had to mop after the young man left. And she went to bed. She says, I have to go to work. I said, what about me? I got to work.
This.
What's that?
John.
Oh, John.
John?
Oh, John.
John is a clean break. No,
He really
John
is a young man.
I
Oh,
still like
no,
coffee.
he's trapped.
John, honey, don't
He wouldn't
you
go
know
home.
this is a man who wants you to eat in 20 minutes? How long did you stay?
He kept pouring.
Coffee.
Pouring coffee in my coffee
He
cup.
was shaking by the time he
I
came out of
was.
the house.
I was literally like, by the time I left.
It was the fumes of
He
the
ordered
bleach
pizza.
and the
It took a
coffee
few cups for him
combined.
to lighten up.
No.
If we send you out again, darling, do the job and get the heck out of there. Take a break. We'll be right back.
Jack packages his hats He got mad I ran out of Ziploc bags, but he packages all his hats so they don't get dusty, and he likes them nice and clean.
We are talking with wives who say, actually, their lives are because their husbands are cleaning fanatics. Now, we've met Lori, who says her husband paints the walls instead of just wiping them down, her husband Jack. I thought you'd like to have some family. These people have. These are your 3 sons, is that correct?
Beautiful.
And Dad, and Mom.
Wonderful father and mother.
Is Dad very, 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 very clean?
Yeah.
Are you going to be that married?
No.
He's young. I'll teach him. I'll teach him.
Before we let up on him, one of the things that is really driving you crazy is that he vacuums in the same... Now, I have no understanding. I was taught to go like this. Go like this.
I don't know.
Well,
Why do you go like that, Jack? Tell me. You know, because if he doesn't go like that, then it won't look like this. You know? All these magazines that he got caught with in his bedroom reading with a light, all these magazines,
if you
they look
think
like
about
that.
it, no, if you think about it, again, I am contractor and builder. We follow directions. It's the ladies in this world who don't read the detergent bottle, who don't follow... If you look at your vacuum cleaning instructions, it will tell you that the nap of the carpet will rise all direction if properly vacuumed.
Can you believe it?
It's true, ladies. It's true.
That's why I let him do it all.
I have been vacuuming.
I'll teach her.
I've been vacuuming most of my life, and I never knew that. All right, meet Lisa and her husband, Paul. Now, Lisa was shocked on their wedding night when her husband, Paul, spent most of his time vacuuming rather than making love to her.
When we were opening our gifts on our wedding night, I was amazed that we got really great stuff, and I was loving the china and the crystal and the picture frames. Okay, and like he's probably going to start drooling now, but his eyes, his jaw dropped. His jaw dropped. His eyes opened. He said, "Let me start putting that thing together. I've got to start putting it together." He reads the instructions. The sound that I fell asleep to on our wedding night. The next morning, I woke up, and I looked beside me, and where is he?
Oh, mine is broken. I would love to borrow it.
I don't know what it is with that noise, because my husband had central vac installed the day we moved into this. It must be the
This
noise.
has become, no, really, this has become his best friend.
What is it about this particular guy? I don't like them very much.
I have no idea, but you know what?
What is it that you love?
You can go everywhere with this. See, with a big vacuum,
Including your clothes.
What do you mean you can go everywhere
you can
with
get
it?
into corners, you can get underneath beds, you can get all around under she's a great cook, but when she cooks, all over the place. All over. Spaghetti sauce, I mean, try and put everything in the pot.
But this is coming from a man who thinks bread's messy. This guy stands. Why don't you show them, Paul? This guy, I'm brushing my hair like this, and not.
That's right.
But Paul, remember what I told you. Mothballs. Mothballs.
Look at that.
If you put mothballs... If you were to put mothballs in here, it would kill the hair bacteria.
That's right.
You know, he's got the thing. He cannot stand anything on the floor. That's why this has become his best friend.
But look how long her hair is. Okay, a hardwood floor, and when I walk on the floor, I get these long hairs caught between my toes.
You know what he does?
I can't deal with it.
He gets up in the morning. He gets up in the morning. The sun shines in on our floor from the balcony. He gets up. He does this crouching down thing. Inspects the floor like this. He does this. You know, if he sees any hair shining in the sun,
that's the best time because the sun shines in, and when you crouch down, you can see the reflections and you can see all the dust. So this way, it alleviates having to do all the room. You just go into certain places.
That is the kinkiest sex I've ever had. I mean, really.
But I have to tell you, it's not just hair, it's sand, it's salt, and especially in the wintertime, he cannot stand the salt that we bring in or the sand that we bring in off the street. And so he went out about 3 weeks ago and he bought these 2 mats. One mat to walk on, before we come in the door, and another mat to put our shoes on.
Absolutely.
Written rule. It is, isn't it?
But
It's an unwritten rule. We have to take off we are not allowed to walk unless our shoes are off. Once our shoes are off, we have to line them up on the second mat.
But I have to tell you why, because when we go to bed at night, we don't walk around with slippers, and what happens is that you get in bed and you feel all this gritty feeling.
But it's little rocks.
I don't want to go to bed with little...
I've never had that gritty feeling.
But never bring grit into your bed.
That's
You
right.
will not have to do your
this,
sheets
man.
every other day. You can do your sheets once
I
a week.
should have married a
once a
woman
week.
like you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Take a break. I can't take it.
Each hanger must be at least 3 to 4 apart. This makes a nice
Put it back
bucket.
so we can see it, please.
4 inches.
4 inches.
We've been talking with wives who say they kind of feel inadequate when it comes to the household chores because they have husbands who are really into cleaning. We've been talking to Paul and Lisa. And Paul, Lisa gave us a very long list of some key things. Your shirt seams have to match. Your side of the closet is perfect. All your dress shirts are together.
I bet you that list is in order, though, too.
Well, the list she gave us wasn't in order, but we have our own. When the shirt creases aren't right, you re-wash the shirt, re-iron them.
Well, he won't let me iron. There's no way. I can't iron. Because one time I tried to iron a shirt. I mean, I tried. I know how to iron. I ironed one of his shirts. And he wants the crease in the arm just so. It has to exactly with the seam in the shoulder.
When she takes my shirt, she goes like this, and then she does the collar, and she does that. And it has to be aligned with the seam.
Right.
Because then it's out of sync.
I just think, why waste an hour ironing when it can be done in like 15 minutes? What happened was, one shirt, only one shirt. I hung it up. He came to inspect it. It was not right. He took that shirt and all his other shirts. I'm doing the wash all over again. And I said, Paul, it's just one shirt. He did them all over again.
Now, wait a minute. The magnets on the refrigerator door have to be lined in order. What is the order?
Well, Paul, tell them about the cat. Okay, we've got a yellow magnet, a blue, black, red, square magnets, normal basic magnets. We've cow magnets, his favorite magnet. Every morning he goes to the fridge and makes sure that cow in the middle of the fridge. And he will take 10 minutes arranging the magnets. The yellow one here, the black one there, the red one here, the cow right there.
And they can't be turned. They have to.
Paul, we don't allow magnets.
He is crazy.
Magnets hold things up so it doesn't fall on the
before the show is over.
Not allow magnets.
Thing hanging on the refrigerator
If it's
door.
not standard equipment, it doesn't belong on the refrigerator door.
Bad enough the company puts their name on the door, he would have that removed also.
Okay, he does not. He is very crazy about where food goes in the pantry. The labels on the food have to pasta one shelf, dessert on another. Fixes her eyebrows and fixes her eyebrows.
Every morning. He takes about really, it's ready in the morning. He takes longer in the mirror than I do. You would think that with long hair, putting on makeup, I would take long. And it's not, I take maybe 5 minutes. He takes so long because why? He fixes his eyebrows like this, gets the cream on them so the eyebrows stay there all day. He brushes his hair, he makes sure everything slicks back, and before I go out of the house, grabs me, turns me around, does this.
But her eyebrows will be folding over each other, and it doesn't look neat.
like eyebrows, he's a fanatic. We have 2 pillows in the back seat of our car. Why do we have 2 pillows in the back seat of our He wants a couch. So it's true. So if our friends come in, they'll be very comfortable. He went out and matched the back seat of our car, beige ones with a little bit of darker brown on them, just like our car, and they have to be there. And every morning before we go, even if no one's in the car with us, he'll take the pillows, one in that corner, one in that corner. Like that. He just does this thing about everything in line.
We want what you're thinking now, but guess what I'm thinking? We want you to meet Becky and her husband, David. Now, David is such a nut when it comes to the house being kept clean that he does the family laundry 6-eye kind of man. Becky, when did you first realize Mr. Clean?
I should have realized something was wrong when I first met him. His desk at the bank was meticulous. He never had any stacks of papers to go through. He had little files for everything on his desk. But the first time I visited him at his home, he had about 700 record albums. And and he was standing there bragging about all the records he had, and I started reaching down, pulling them out, looking at them. Oh, yeah, I like this, I like this. And he started sweating when I'd go to put them away. You know, he's just flicking open his face and sliding them in. He didn't tell me until 3 months after we were married, medical order. He has them categorized by the type of music, and like the folk singers, he does it by first name, so Bob Dylan comes before Joan Baez. And this has had an effect on our children because the other night, and our oldest son said to me, Mom, you've been in the records again. Your Billy Joel was next to great. So, but it doesn't stop there, Sally. You know, 7 years ago, he became a house husband, and so we reversed our roles, and I went out to get a job. What he started doing was cleaning out the cupboards in the kitchen.
Yeah,
you know,
they do that.
They have the cupboards cleaned out, but you have to understand, when Dave goes to the grocery store, okay, the phenomena starts at the grocery store. He has everything organized in the grocery cart, and we have tried to show him on television. There are like 3 in Georgia that advertise, and they say, you can save $34. You can all have this many groceries, and they have 3 groceries. If you go to this one place, you'll save $34. And the carts, they're thrown. I mean, they're just packed to the top. No, David has to go to the store. He puts all of his canned goods against the seat. Thank you very much. Okay, and then put out in like
pasta.
No, he has dry goods on one side, paper, and then his meat and his cold items are right down the middle. What he doesn't understand is when he checks out of the grocery store and the front of those carts open up in the front, we end up with 5 bags weighing a piece because all the canned goods are back by the seat.
Yeah, but then when you get home, it's easy to put them away.
Wait, he puts, whoa. He puts these cans away in alphabetical order, okay? He's got the cream soups on the left-hand side, the beef stock is in the center, and the vegetable stock is on the right. I have to remember what letter comes after what letter in the alphabet. Our whole house is alphabetized. The peas come before the potatoes. You know, the squash comes after. And if he gets in there and sees that someone's been in there, he has to stand there and rearrange his stuff in alphabet. He does it with the VCR tapes. All the VCR tapes are in alphabetical order.
I know where everything is all the time. As long as I'm the only one that touches it.
Listen, this guy, 2 years ago, we bought this house. It had an upstairs and downstairs. I said, look, I'm afraid our children are going to become neurotic, and they're going to need mental therapy because David sits in a chair, right? We're watching a movie. It's 2 hours long. There's 2 minutes left of the movie. The dog shakes, and a little dust ball falls off. David's big rear end gets in front of the TV, and I missed the ending, okay? I missed the ending of the show because he can't wait till the commercial to get the hair.
So I was like that, too, with things that fall on the floor. 2 weeks ago, we had some friends over, and we were having a movies, eating chips, popcorn, whatever, you know. And it was about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock when they left, and the whole time during the night, he was like this. Watching everything that they were eating, there were little crumbs falling on the floor. But it wasn't that they were falling on. He wanted to, like, they were brushing everything off onto the floor, and he'd be like this. And I told Paul just to relax, have a good time that night, but I knew the whole time he was sitting there looking at these things. One morning, they leave, and he goes and gets the mop, puts in boiling hot water, goes and gets the dust buster and the vacuum, and starts cleaning everything at 1:30 in the morning.
Well, at least they get to sit with the company. He doesn't sit down. He's up all the time. He doesn't watch TV. He doesn't do anything.
Wait, she just said the same thing. You just...
The best place to eat is outside.
Right.
You can hose everything down. Becky, Paul wants me, but I want David. I think they're better matched.
The worst that I've ever heard is there's something about that he makes you do.
Oh, God. Well, the production company came, okay? And I want to say one thing. We said that
How long did John stay?
John wasn't there.
Okay.
We had someone come out of Atlanta. They were there 3.5 hours. But 3 days before, when David found out the production company was coming, he cleaned. We have said he cannot go upstairs. The kids' rooms are their rooms. If they want to be like, he can't go upstairs unless he's invited. If the kids say, Dad,
I'll sneak up every once in a while, though.
Yeah, he goes up and he comes down and he goes, you aren't going to believe what's going on. I went in Mary's room. Her stuffed animals are not in symmetrical order. He does big to small. Everything's big to small, big to small. He has Lysol. He comes to a dead stop if he does not have Lysol basin, tub, and tile cleaner. He does everything with it. You know, he does the counters. He does the
Have you ever thought about Clorox?
No, he doesn't like
It's the smell about it.
Lysol odor. We use Clorox.
It's cheaper.
It's not as messy, and we get ants that come in the house because, you know, in the
They don't like the
He sprays
Lysol.
Lysol. It's like $3.79 a can. He can buy Amdro for like $4 for a 15-pound bag, and he runs out with Lysol cans. But here, they come, okay, The clothes. The kids come home from
Poor
school.
guy.
I come home from work. We have to go. We that are built in the house. We can fill up the hampers with clothes. No way. We come in the house. The first thing we have to do is take our clothes off. And Dave's out the laundry.
No,
okay?
no, not the
no,
first
get
thing.
out of here,
Not
Dave.
the first
we
thing.
have to.
No.
What,
I wait until after supper.
Sally, he washes the same clothes that we wore. We go to bed that night. They're back in the closet. So he had to tell our youngest son, look, you need to understand something. If it's inside of the closet, you've already worn it this week, so go to the right.
But does he put them in color coordinated
order?
At least
Okay. Our man folds his
We
underwear.
need help.
in my childhood.
We need help. Please meet Dr. Deborah Cooper.
You guys have a problem, and it
She wants to find out. She's a psychotherapist from Los Angeles. And there are a lot of unusual people in Los Angeles, and so she occasionally sees couples with problems like this. Dr. Cooper? What's going on here? Where did these women...
A rock, Sally. They came
rock.
under a rock somewhere.
No, it's too dirty under a rock. What we have, it's clearly an illness. It's called obsessive compulsive behavior. And the more they feel this way, the more extreme behavior becomes, and it continues to get worse as, as they grow older.
Let's find out. You've been married 18 years. You married him when you were 18.
Yes.
Has it gotten worse? She's right.
I love my
Well,
wife.
how long have you been married?
Almost a year.
Oh, well, that doesn't count.
It's getting
Better, he's not quite as well as he was before.
You're young enough to catch.
How long have you been married?
We're going to
Almost
train
19
this kid up.
years.
What happened? Is he getting worse?
Come on,
He's
the
getting
truth
worse,
now.
but the truth is, we had been married about 13 years. He wanted me to always be like him, and I'm not. Okay, I'll never be like him. And I said, you did not want to marry yourself, so don't try to make me like you. He said, give me my space, which is my drawers and my closets, and you can have whatever it is you want to do with your life. We've come to this mutual understanding. I wouldn't trade him for the world.
Some couples can't. Some couples aren't able to do that. Sometimes you'll find that many times it becomes an issue of control, controlling the house, their environment, their wife, their husband, whomever is the... So they want to control the outside because they feel out of control on the inside.
How do they feel out of control? This man looks pretty controlled.
I don't know about them.
Give him a box and he will be happier. That one comes down to bacteria. It's almost like as we go a row here.
Okay, let's take a break, and I'm going to have you go down the row here. Okay. We'll be right back.
This is my favorite here. Boy, let's look at Dave's drawers. Woo-woo. He's got all his socks on the right. The newest on the left. And he's got all his dark socks in the back.
Wait a minute. I don't know if I can open this.
Get Cooper to go down the line and talk to us, but I thought maybe we'd get even another couple for you to discuss. This is Debbie and Keith. Will you stand up? Good-looking couple, right? Yeah. What's the problem here in our marriage?
Well, he's not so much of a clean fanatic like these are. He's very clean, straight kind of guy.
Straight? Don't we want straight?
Straight, yes. But I mean...
He's not interested in you.
But I mean, like, pictures. We have a new home, and Keith had to hang all the pictures because I couldn't do it correctly. He would take out the tape measure, make sure he gets it perfectly centered and perfectly straight. His best friend even had him hang all his pictures in their house because he did it right. And Sally, this is bad. We go into restaurants, we'll go into dentist offices or whatever, and he look at the picture and it drives him crazy that it's not straight. He'll get up if he's not caught in the picture.
Interesting, rehanging pictures in your doctor's office without his permission. I also hear you straighten seems to be her problem.
Her hair, slit in the skirt in the back.
Let me tell you, because he's not going to tell you. I'll have seams in the back of my hose, in the back, and we'll get ready to go out the door. He'll go, Debbie, wait a second. Something's not right. I'll have to back. He will start at the bottom and make me go straight all the way up on the hose, all the way up. And then, as a matter of fact, this morning we got ready to get ready for the show. He said, Debbie, your jacket looks great. You look great, but that Bernard, honey, he had to fix me.
Oh, but he keeps fixing you.
He'll pick lint off of me as we're in the car. Oh, you've got something on you.
Wait, Dr. Cooper, you better start with this couple, and then that'll let them off the hook for a moment. What do you think's going on here?
Well, it still is. It comes from the position of the person being neat is feeling a little out of control. It feels out of control if things are around neat. Am I accurate?
Could it be?
It makes you anxious.
Everything has a place.
Right.
I'll look at it.
It'll make, probably you'll find that it makes you anxious because you don't have it in its right to bother you. If that thing on the desk is not turned correctly, it's just keep it
all the angles have to be right.
Again, it comes from that they're not in control here.
Could there be ethnic backgrounds to it?
It's not ethnic so much as it is inherited. You may find inherited genetically, inherited. Not just, well, not just.
Wait, your mother?
A very clean person.
Right. Well, that's the behavior that is learned from her.
Tell them what we say, too.
I was brought up right.
I was brought up
You could eat
right,
off
too.
her floors. You could eat off her
We
floors.
could have served her floors because they're so clean, and there's nothing wrong with that. She's a very clean person, and there's nothing.
Tired, she has time for it. She should do what she wants to do. Well, I look at it.
She straightens. Mom straightens.
There's 2 points to this. One is it's a learned behavior. He saw her do it, so he does it. It's also many times a chemical imbalance. Similar to diet, it can be handled with medication. I mean, Prozac was created. One of the reasons is to handle obsessive-compulsive behavior. This is what obsessive-compulsive.
You wouldn't really suggest that because he'd get Prozac, would you?
But Sally, my husband's been on Prozac for 2 years, and he's still more.
He may need more. You can go up to 4 pills a day, and the size has to do with it also. If he is, you know, a larger person, he may need a higher dosage in order to handle the.
It's the wildest thing I've ever heard. But you're not suggesting this on Prozac.
I don't know enough about him to find out.
All right, thank you. Sit down. Now, the reason I asked about ethnic is I am married to a very clean man. He's not like this, but he's pretty clean. But he's Norwegian. Thought that came if your relatives come from Norway or Sweden or Denmark.
No.
That isn't that way?
No.
All those showers and all that?
No.
No? Oh, good.
No, it could be anybody.
All right, let's start with them. What's going on with this?
Well, you know, actually, this particular couple, he has a thing with bacteria. I'm going to say, he's, correct? It's like, I don't want to get germs, correct?
That's true.
Okay, so that is like a more extreme case of obsessive-compulsive behavior because it's getting down to the germs. And when it gets down, yes, and when it gets down to the germs, then we're talking, well, just look at Howard Hughes. He sat in his room.
That's right.
And he had to have things given to him. He was completely dysfunctional from
So
this problem.
if this man gets really bad, then he would need help. At this stage, mildly amused.
No, I think he needs help now.
You think he needs help now? Okay, take a break.
Over here, we've got Dave going to town with his can of Lysol spray. To a grinding stop if he doesn't have a can of Lysol. He uses this for everything. How you doing, Annie?
Fine.
And here, my favorite, the alphabetized soup.
Yes.
I'd like to ask Becky, Lisa, and Laurie if their husbands are as attentive and involved in the relationship.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Every morning, my coffee up to my bedroom. He has roses by my bedside, but he gets a little of the coffee's cup back down in the morning. There's plenty of attention in every way in our life.
Every way.
I wouldn't change Paul in dollars and more.
Now, let me tell you why Dr. Cooper's asking. There seems to be between neat men and being bad in bed. Is that true, Dr. Cooper?
Well, bad in bed wouldn't necessarily be the word I would use, but it would be more controlled. It's more difficult to excitement and the passion there because they need to have control around them.
I understand.
Now, they can be fabulous at pleasing their wife. It's just, you know, the control issue.
I just want to say I'm happy to be here because I thought that my husband was neat, but I feel better.
Me too. I feel exactly. I want you to know, gentlemen, my life, I was really worried that my husband was a little neat. Now that I've talked to you guys, yes, sir.
Has it gotten to the point where you guys have thought about breaking up, maybe?
Never.
No.
Never been that bad.
Wonderful father.
You're right. It's too
I have women on a waiting list that would like to marry my husband.
Get people ask you if they could rent Paul out for the day because they need their house cleaned. I would never trade him.
Actually, you're all in the wrong business.
Sally, I want to say you look fabulous today. I want to ask the good doctor.
Yes.
Does this obsessive show up more in people who are functional alcoholics? And if so, why?
No, if it's more so in functioning alcoholics or not. What that means, functioning alcoholics, means that it's an alcoholic who can make their way through. That's someone who's an alcoholic who's dry.
For all time.
They're dry alcoholics. it could be the compulsion to do things could be the same as a compulsion to drink.
Now, what we've learned from you is that it's usually, it can be a compulsive obsessive disorder, which is a chemical imbalance, which many alcoholics are thought to have.
Correct.
The reason for alcoholism is thought by many to be a chemical imbalance in the brain.
Similar to depression.
Sometimes that same chemical imbalance. So that was a very good question. Thank you.
Don't you think imbalance could be caused by all the Clorox and everything?
Very good. Very good.
Just to show that it cuts across all lines, you're not going to believe this, but I guess you are. This nice couple, when this she says her husband is very neat. When he came in, he told us that our Dusty.
Right.
Thank you very much. Cooper, your next couple sitting next to you, the young marrieds, can she somehow keep this under control for their married life?
Well, it's not whether you keep it under control. It's, first of all, it's a matter of you accepting each other as you are.
Of course she accepts that she doesn't have to do any work.
But also accepting her. So if you can come to a balance here, like you accept maybe just a little bit more what you would call sloppiness, and you would accept the neatness, you can work it out so that it's easy.
Well, we did. We came up with a compromise. What she always used to do is she always used to come in and she'd throw her jackets on the ground. I did that. I said, jacket has its proper place in the closet. And she'd come home from a long day at work and throw it down on the ground, and I would get really angry. So one day we sat down and we said, look, you know, it really makes me angry because I try to keep the place clean. I just would appreciate it if you put it in the closet.
Well, actually what he did was like a little role reversal. He's to me exactly like me. He said, how would you like it if you had to go around and pick up after me? And I said, I wouldn't mind. And he did it. He left everything on the bed. I mean, before I went to bed, it was like an hour
And it killed me for a
cleaning.
week not to do a thing. Couldn't deal with it.
And so finally I said, fine, I don't mind. I've never taken out the garbage. I've vacuuming or anything, and I will live with that.
So eventually the couple, Dr. Cooper, she gives a little, he gives a little when you're married to a neatness freak.
Right.
Listening to you three fellas and looking at you gals got nothing to complain about.
Thank you.
You don't need that doctor anymore.
Thank you very much.
You agree with him?
With him.
No.
He's, I think that the two couples that have been married so long and you've seemed to adjust it and you're living, and the young couple in the middle, you are working on it and you're going to have a good, long, happily married life.
Very
Like
good.
anything in your house, you can't do anything. If you have crafts, I like to do tool work and stuff. I left the tool bench out of the house because it was in the basement.
Oh, I
looking
gave her
messy.
a tool bench in the garage.
Yeah, in the garage. You can't
It sounds
do
like the
anything in your house.
changing roles. Dr. Cooper seemed to be all right. What about people who are not? What about people who are really suspicious? I think we just should take a little bit of serious time to think about somebody who may have someone in the family who is an obsessive compulsive person.
It can.
How do they get help and what do they do?
Well, hopefully they have a way to go, you know, in case there's one man that I've recently dealt with. So he was so obsessive compulsive and misophobic, he had to clean everything, and it wasn't working. He could not work. He couldn't go into an office to work. So it kept him from functioning as an adult. So when it gets to the point where it keeps you from functioning as a normal adult, keeps you from going to work, going out of the house, you know, where it might be some bacteria, or people who carry bacteria in this,
What do they usually do? You say they usually put them on medication because medication is the best for chemical.
Well, and then start with behavior therapy. And say what I use is I use hypnosis with obsessive compulsive. And with that, you can start working. You know, they can work their way to be accepting of the environment, more relaxed.
What do you hypnotize
them
to do? Post-hypnotic on them?
Right. I use a post-hypnotic suggestion where they can start feeling more relaxed. Like, so what? That piece of hair is on the floor. You know, I'll get it later. So they start saying that, and then they start feeling it. It's like what you do is the way it is, the way you think. So if they start thinking to themselves, I'm fine with this, they can start actually being fine with it.
Thank you. Take a break. Here, question 3 goes here. Question, gee, I could use some
I was going to say, I hope I'm question 4.
You're terrific, all of you. Thank you. Question.
some members of our receive, and a promotional fee has been provided by